Hi, in this video, I'll be showing you how to get free performance if you own one of these cards. My specific model is the Dell R5 240. However, this will work on any card of the GCN 1 and GCN 2 architecture running on Linux. And what am I talking about specifically? I'm talking about the driver, the AMD GPU driver. The AMD GPU driver is capable of running on GCN 1 cards. That means the old Terascale 2 and 3 and older won't work. However, there is one important thing. Experimental support is kind of what is on these cards. And to find out what GPU driver you use, you simply use this one command, lspci-k-d, that number. And if I put this into my freshly installed system, I get the answer of Radeon. That is the older GPU driver. Now, why do I care? Well, there's a performance difference, and I measured it. Comparatively, compared the Radeon and the AMD GPU drivers in 3 games, that being Flat Out 2, Goat Simulator, and Minecraft. I know, quite low-end games, but I have a low-end GPU, so it kind of makes sense. Here you can see that AMD GPU drivers usually are better, and we're talking about the ballpark of like a significant amount, like the difference between 52 and 60 FPS. But there is one outlier in these tests, and that is a benchmark world in Minecraft. I have deduced that the Radeon GPU driver is actually better if you have a weaker CPU, because the benchmark world, if you don't know, it's a benchmark world for Minecraft. You just literally go benchmark world and you'll find it. A bunch of armor stands flying around and whatnot. And so in CPU-bound titles, you're actually better off using the Radeon driver as is. So I keep that decision up to you. But most games, even Minecraft, a CPU demanding game, in most cases is going to benefit the AMD GPU driver switch. So what do we do? Well, first off is the diagnosis. As you can see, I'm using the Radeon drivers. We don't want that. We want the AMD GPU ones. And the great thing about this command, it actually shows you what modules are available. And as you can see, we have the Radeon and AMD GPU drivers available. So we can indeed do it. So how do we do it? So this is my little guide I made. You can use the sudo nano etc grub file and tweak around in nano to do it. But I don't really like this terminal idea. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to install a program called Grub Customizer. You can do this in your own package manager. This is void, so I'm using XPPS. However, you can install Octopi installer on Arch and Synaptics on Debian-based distros. In fact, it probably comes pre-installed. As you can see, it was fast, and I can load up Grub Customizer. I need to put my sudo password, logically. As you can see, lovely thing. Don't have to deal with the config file. So in general settings, we have the kernel parameters. Here, we're going to set 2 kernel parameters. One to, oh yes, I can see I did a bit of a mistake here. Give me a second. There, much better. I forgot on the CIK. So there are 2 parameters to set, and that is for the AMD GPU drivers to support Southern Islands and CIK, which I should have researched on what it means, but it's another island within this generation. I do believe it's the difference between GCN 1 and GCN 2. So we need to set the kernel boot parameters for AMD GPU support Southern Islands equals yes, and Radeon support equals 0. So in the case of Nano, we would have this as our line, but we only have this. So we can just do that. There we are. And open up Grub Customizer. Boop. So we are enabling Southern Islands, disabling it for the Radeon, as in enabling it for the AMD GPU drivers in both cases, and then disabling it for the Radeon driver in both cases, GCN1 and GCN2. Perfect. So now what I'll do is I'll simply save it. And I do believe this should have updated Grub, but just in case, we'll do this. Sudo update Grub. Perfect. I'll do a restart and do the same command here, and I'll show you the result after that. So I'm back. I'll reopen the terminal, and I do believe, yep, it's this. Perfect! And as you can see, we are using the AMD GPU drivers. And there we are. A simple grub kernel boot parameter, and we have extra performance. I also tried this method beforehand. I know I can see here now what I did. Sea Islands is CIK and Southern Islands is SI. Okay, interesting. Now we know. Wait, does this mean successor is Pirate Island? I'm really confused about the naming schemes of AMD's GPUs. But anyway, this method is something I thought was supposed to work. I think I'm gonna delete this off my website and just have this method because this method works. So yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope this was useful for you. See ya. Bye.